So this actually marks the second hour of Mentorship Monday. That's what today is. Today is Mentorship Monday, and just got back from a really quick break. We got another hour left, and at 2 p.m. Eastern, the morning room is done. And then from 5 to 6 Eastern is going to be the afternoon trading room, which is going to be the swing trading room, and we will be recording that one for everyone as well. So let's answer some questions, talk a little bit more about just trading in general, and hopefully help you guys out with whatever questions, concerns, or thoughts you might have. Ken Freeman says, do you find gap rules to act individually different than stocks versus something like the SPY being average of numerous stocks? It's a great, great question. And the answer to that is no. I find that ETFs or grouping of stocks, they work the exact same way. So for example, the best theory I can give you is SPY right here. Here's SPY and here's the daily chart. And so this note was written down. I talked about this note on Friday. So Friday, my analysis was I'm expecting a small rest or retest on Monday and likely a pop higher on Tuesday, or really it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. So how did I know that? How was I able to anticipate that even remotely? Well, realistically, just based on the candles that came in, right? Here's the support resistance right there. This resistance is kind of obviously seen from that bearish candle. And you had a few retest gaps. So here's a white candle, white candle. So you had 2 or 3 retest gaps back to back. So that happening, those retest gaps today are going into that plan expecting a retest. And in fact, realistically, it appears that Friday was a breakout of that resistance. So right there, that was the resistance. So since we were breaking out, we've actually been talking about this a lot today, when to take the breakout versus the retest. And that's why, when you break out, you're kind of going into that consideration that likely we're going to be retesting on the SPY. So that's kind of the why we did a retest. So great question, Ken. I know you're asking that question for all the other traders out there who are brand new. So fantastic. And realistically, we did have one official trade today on BABA, and we canceled that trade because it's not going to fill. So here's another great example of a retest gap. So here is BABA, B-A-B-A, white candle, gapping up right there. And here is the retest. So yesterday, yesterday being Friday, we got the retest. And today, we had a little bit of a breakout. So earlier, if I hop in here to the 5-minute chart, we did want to trade BABA bullish. Just looks like it's not going to pull back exactly to where we wanted it to pull back to. So the breakout occurred right here. This is a phenomenal time to know when not to take a breakout. Because really, we were looking at this trade, we're talking about BABA, and after all these white candles in a row, white candle, white candle, white candle, white candle, white candle, it's like, why would you take that breakout right there? There's no pressure, hasn't trapped anybody. So getting in bullish up here is chasing, and by that time, yeah, you might have made a little bit of money, but unless you were scalping or something, it did get a quick pullback. And you could have bought at the exact same price on that pullback that you bought on the breakout and just have been able to really mitigate your risk and control your risk a lot more on BABA. So the entry that we did have, that we did cancel, was a stop down here, 93 and some change, with an entry approximately here, wanting for BABA to hopefully do this. That's what I was hoping it would do. It just didn't quite do it. So no worries, didn't pull back quite far enough. From the first hour, if you got a chance to check out the first hour's recording, if you're watching this now after it's already happened, hop over here and check out 5, the analysis on 5. This was deadly, spot on good on FBI 5 below. So here on the early morning, we mentioned, hey, likely a fade. Bull traders, watch this one. I'll be patient on the bearish rollover. So I was kind of talking about this one earlier, and I know you got this one, the recording. Black candle gapping down into a support, had a really, really good bounce. Well, here on the 5-minute, Gregory was asking earlier, he's like, hey, man, where are you thinking about taking this trade? Bullish, would you say about 37.50-ish? And I was like, yes. Because really, the very beginning of the morning, you remember I mentioned the bullish wave rotation. You're going to be looking at something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, check that out. Check that out. I mean, that is exactly the same rotations you got. So gap down to a support, traded higher. Some short traders came in, sold the stock lower, traded down, traded down, traded down. And then you got right here, some people might be wondering, what's the candle that says to you that this is a good location to buy? You had two, this one and this one. The first one would not have triggered, right? Because that's a hammer candle. So you'd look to get in right here above the high and just never went higher. So once it broke down, then you got this candle. This candle I lovingly refer to as a new white soldier. That is a white candle that opens and closes above the prior black candle's close. Shows a little bit of a bullish sentiment, right? At that support level. So your entry on this trade, you could have had a few different choices. Really, let me kind of clear my drawings here for a second. Entry number one could have been here, with the stop down some, way down here, below the low of today. That would have been a more conservative setup. And of course, the more aggressive setup, we had to stop right below the low of those candles. So that's 5 below. That's what we got. And that's kind of, the analysis that we had on it today. I do not think I'll be taking this trade for the rest of the afternoon. So I'm just going to take that one off the list. We watched Dean do some magical analysis on Chevron, and crazy as it sounds, it is traded now as of today right back down to the same exact support that it bounced off of before, and getting a little bit of a bounce on Chevron. I don't think we'll trade that one bearish today. Very, very small range in the markets coming back over to the SPY. Pretty small range today. So here's the SPY, and again, check out this candle. Very, very tiny. So coming into the inauguration, the official inauguration of Donald Trump, which will be, I believe, on the 20th of January, and also coming into earnings season, I think the markets are going to slow down a little bit. They obviously could still continue higher easily, but just likely a little bit of a slowdown. Scoop says, do you think this may be a potential double top for a bearish day trade? On Alibaba, no. Melanie says, so if you think SPY pops tomorrow, is there an option to play on the pop? Remember, still learning about options. Yeah, so tomorrow is going to be your weekly options newsletter, right, Melanie? So I'll be watching that one very, very closely. But realistically, this would be a 2-day pennant pattern. So the 2-day pennant pattern, I'm looking for it to break above the high of today. So I'm going to let today's candle close, and I'll have much more information and much more insight about the trade. I'll be looking at likely the 227 or the 228 call options expiring either this week or next week. I just have to kind of look at the option chains and just see how they look. But yep, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Nice little inside day candle, looking for it to break. Really, whatever direction this breaks out of is probably the direction I'll be looking to take it. Either that or Apple. I haven't decided which one I'm going to trade yet. Apple might take until next week or something, but nice little pop on Apple today. So we'll be watching that one, of course. Tesla making another higher high today, up almost 1%. KLXI, says Dean. So this one has a giant lower shadow today. A lot of buying pressure coming in on KXLI. Here's the 5-minute chart, and I see what he's looking at. I can already tell you what I don't love about this particular trade is this gap right there. I'm not a big fan of that. On the 5-minute chart, you're already getting some gaps here and there. How to play this one? Afternoon, you got a nice little support resistance here at 45.40. So if you were going to trade it bearish, you would want a break below $45.29. The reason I'm saying $45.29 is because that is below this little support right here that was created from that bullish candle. So if you're taking this one bearish on KLXI, I'm not personally going to do that trade, but if you are looking for it, I would be looking and watching for that to break that support. There we go. Angela says your weekly options newsletter is a license to print money. Your analysis is the king. Well, thank you, Angela. It's very kind of you. I love doing it. It's super fun. Going to be doing another one tomorrow. I'm just looking for and trying to find find the trade to place. It might be Facebook. Facebook is kind of screaming today, but I'll be looking for something on Facebook. We do have a swing trade set up on Monsanto, MON. I don't think this one's going to fill, and it's not the best for options anyway. But Monsanto will be watching. Google has a nice little higher high today. Amazon, a little bit of a high wave candle. The Qs made a little bit of a higher high today. So bottom line is I'll probably be waiting and looking for a pullback. Dave & Buster's not doing too much today. Yum had some news out there. Didn't look like it reacted. So yeah, we haven't taken a lot of trades today, and mostly because we've been in a very, very small range. So again, look at the SPY. We're talking incredibly small candles. So usually when your candles are small in the SPY, it just intrinsically turns into a very slow day in the markets, because if the SPY is moving small, that means a lot of other trades are moving small as well. So yes, of course, you can take breakouts, but the mark of a really good trader is not how many trades you can take, but how many trades you do not take. It's easy to trade. We can all agree on that, right? Trading is the easiest thing in the world. You just open up your broker and press buy or sell. Like, that's simple. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But the overall standpoint of trading is knowing when not to trade is going to be the strongest aspect of trading. So we've been looking at AYI a lot also. This is a huge gap. This is a great gap, 14%, the great Gatsby. Black candle gapping down. So this is a retest gap on AYI. So here's the 5-minute chart. And on the 5-minute, you'll be looking and watching for a retest to come in. So really at this particular point in time, we have been trading sideways. Now, I don't use this tool super often, but a lot of traders have helped me fine-tune some of my entries with the VWAP, the VWAP, volume weighted average price. So what I'm going to be looking for is pretty much this, and then of course it's a retest gap. So I'm going to look for it to retest and then roll over. Don't know if we're going to play it, but I'm absolutely going to keep this one on my list for sure. Christopher says, dude, I fell asleep. Thanks for all the info. 1 hour for today. All right, man. Take care. Great job snagging your 1 hour on JNEG. I think you were sleeping when I mentioned if you're trading with us again tomorrow, let us know what trade you're in so we can keep you in there longer, okay? Great trade, though, man. High five making money. Just as a reminder, I was telling Chris, I'll tell all of you as well, if you're ever in a trade, feel free to tell us. We're happy to trade it and watch it with you. ETRM, our buddy Zane snagged himself 3.9R on ETRM. So great job, Zane, on that one. Very nice move. We've been watching this one since Friday. And Sears, nothing really happening on Sears. Okay, so really, let me just kind of go through some of the market out here and see what else we got going on. Nordstrom, this is the daily chart, had a big gap the other day, gap down, is just kind of trading sideways. Nikhil, what's up, buddy? The low of Friday is 45.14. Nordstrom, we could put Nordstrom on the list as a maybe. Nikhil says, can you tell us the importance of VWAP? I can't tell you the importance of it, but I can tell you it's a great tool to use as support and resistance. Just really another, it's very, very similar to a moving average. It's the average of the price purchased per share. So a lot of people use it for intraday trades. I only use it on the 5-minute chart. I only use it on the 5-minute. Intel, INTC looks a little bullish here. Looks a little bullish. Very nice double bottom down here. Again, earnings kind of coming right around the corner. Someone asked earlier about JP Morgan. I don't know if that gentleman is still here, about JP Morgan and the earnings. The truth of the matter is, with all bank stocks, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be very, very patient on the bank stocks. Look at this move. Okay. That's not going to continue. So those things, like if you're not in right here, well, if you're not in at some point previously, right here is probably not the best time to buy. You're talking JP Morgan's moved over $20 in the last few months. And I mean, $20 on a $60 stock, That's 30% move in about 6 months on a stock as huge as JP Morgan. It's massive. So yeah, I'm probably going to be waiting on that one. All right, my good friend, you got it. Take care. So yeah, JP Morgan trading sideways on earnings. It'll be interesting to see what happens if any of these bank stocks gap down. But really, I'm just expecting them to do not a lot, just kind of trade potentially sideways. Micron Technology, cute little candle coming in here on Micron, trying to bounce some on that one, I believe. FCX, very small candle today, resting, hanging out, not much going on. CHK down a little bit. Looks like my buddy Ron's going to have a covered call expire worthless this Friday at 8:50. Here's usually the chart on the website that I use to look through afternoon gaps. Is this one right here. So let me hop over EXAS, Exact Sciences. It wasn't not a bad gap. Didn't do anything today though. You could have had an opportunity to take it off the 10 EMA. That's a pretty active moving average that we use very often. Some traders use the 8, some traders use the 10, some traders do simple, some traders do exponential, some traders do the 20. It doesn't matter. They all work half the time. So Exact Sciences, I don't see anything great on that one for a day trade. EXEL, what was that up to? EXEL, that was a great move. Didn't see this trade. Biotherapeutic drug and healthcare company. Yeah, didn't see this one. If you were watching it though, very simple to trade. White candle, gapping up. That's a retest gap. So if you're looking at playing it as a retest, here's your 5-minute chart. And the stock gapped up, pulled down. Beautifully, interestingly enough, it actually bounced off the 10 EMA on the daily and the 10 EMA on the 5-minute chart on the same day. It's a really strong bounce. Interesting. All right, so there's EXEL. And I'm gonna hop over here on this one. Let's go look at MDT. I wonder if Jason is still in MDT. Jason K, are you here? If he's not, let's see. Litterman says that movie in the banks reminds me of a movie quote. In America, barely noticed that this #1 industry became bored old banking. Can you name that movie? I can. I watched it just the other day. Again. The Big Short. Classic. All right, so let me ask Jason K, are you still in MDT bullish? Okay, cool. So it's the afternoon. We got about 40 minutes left together. Any other trades that you want to look at? Either day trades, swing trades? I didn't really find very much today. I've been doing my best to be very patient. We had one that didn't fill, and we've been just keeping our eyes on a few other prizes. Keeping my eyes on the prize. CLF, watching it for a swing, says Steven, makes sense. It's coming back down to this 50 exponential moving average, maybe a double bottom starting to form. Cliffs Natural Resources, very high volume, pretty aggressive little stock. It can be kind of volatile. Also, what's interesting about this one, Steven, is this old resistance, new support right here. So Steven is looking for a good bullish trade off of that old resistance, new support. I dig it, man. Looks good. I really like the location. Here's the hourly chart. And if I was trading this one on the hourly personally, I would look for an entry. This is the hourly time frame. I look above the high of these candles. Let me turn off moving averages here for a second. It'd be entry, stop. That's how I would look to trade it, Steven. 867 by 826. That's it. All right, cool. Perfect. So let's see. So Nikhil says, how about put options on Facebook? So a lot of you looking for Facebook to rotate lower. If you're looking to trading Facebook bearish, here's my personal opinion. What would you call this particular chart pattern right here? I would personally call that a double bottom. And you're getting good volume coming in on that as well. So my thought on Facebook is, yes, you can play puts on it. I personally think it would only be max 4 days of bearish trades. I think the edge is more bullish. If you want to play the bearish position, you're more than welcome to. But based on the volume and really just the trend in general, just the longer term trend, here's your weekly chart. If you're looking at a weekly chart, the trend is bullish. If you're looking at the daily chart, the trend is bullish to sideways. So we got this trend line here drawn in here. It's a long-term trend line. So realistically, yes, if you want to trade it, it's a very counter trend trade. What I mean by counter trend is it's going to be a quick one, something like that. So if you want to play Facebook bearish, you're more than welcome to. I'm personally not. I'm waiting for that pullback, and I'm going to buy the dip on the pullback to be bullish on Facebook. All right. Carrie says, looking for an entry on United States Steel. So here's X. Bullish entry or bearish entry? Probably bullish is my guess. I would look to play X bullish as it pulls back to 32. So here's the trend. Here's the moving averages. And these are the exponential moving averages. The red line's the 10, the blue line's the 20, and the green line's the 50. So on United States Steel, I would look for a pullback into the 50 exponential, which is right at $32, and then buy the dip there, let it bounce. Setting the stop here at about 30. So that's your risk, and this is your potential reward. It's about a nice little 1 to 2. I do trade options. I do trade US Steel often. I like this one. Got the $24 put sale for January, expiring soon. And if it bounces off the 50, great. So Carrie, if we do not bounce off the 50, meaning we try to take the trade and it doesn't work, which is really about a 50% chance of that happening, right? If something like this happens, then I'm going to be much more patient on US Steel, let it trade lower, and then see if I can buy the dip after earnings. Does that help? So usually with US Steel, that could be like a 2 to 3 month plan. I'm just going to jot down, wait and see, and just kind of determine what happens on US Steel. But that's the goal. Is I'm going to try to buy the dip off the 50, and it's either going to work or it doesn't. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, then I'm going to lose small in the trade and then see if I can get it at a lower price later. Let's see what else you guys are looking at. That one's X. Dean says MTG be triggering now, has daily support as a concern. MTG. I think we looked at this one a few times. The daily chart looks pretty okay. 5 minute. It did finally break that head and shoulders pattern. Here's the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and has broken through that. So we can put MTG back on the list, or put on the list. Daily chart, we're below the 20 exponential moving average. You got a little bit of a daily support around 1020. Let me look at this one. If I'm looking at taking this trade, I definitely want it to retest because you have a lot of bearish candles in a row. I don't think it's going to actually retest 1020, but let's watch and see if it can. Stop you right about here. 8-9 cents of risk. Looks pretty good. Yeah, 10 cents of risk. Okay, so this is not an official trade yet. I'm watching this. I'm going to give this one about 5 or 6 minutes. What am I really waiting for? I want to see how these candles close. And then the objective, this purple line again is the VWAP. I'm gonna expect it to do something like this. I just want to see, really what I'm looking for is a volume profile. Make sure you don't get any weird gaps or crazy bullish volume coming in on MTG. So I like it. Let's keep an eye on that one. Someone says, coming back in a bit late, did you go over FCX? I did. So here's FCX, and here's the daily chart. Really, it's just hanging out. Not much is happening with it right now. It's just going to rest. I got a put sale at $12.50 for January. You got a nice little white candle gapping up right here, which is a retest gap. So all of this is that pressure building, which is a pennant pattern, in my opinion, on FCX. So at some point, it's either going to break down or break higher. Unfortunately, I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm just going to have to keep waiting and seeing what it's going to do, but I like the bullish breakout, and hopefully that's kind of what ends up transpiring on that one. Mark says, I bought AT&T puts this morning. It retested and failed. What do you see? Let's go look at AT&T. I like it. Puts look good. It's in a very nice channel, right, Mark? Good resistance up there at 42.69. We've been there before. So you had a really nice gap on Friday. We've paid dividends, so a big gap down. Looks like it's trading a little bit lower. I dig it, man. Depends on when your puts expire, of course, but really, black candle gapping down, you could expect something like this, potentially, on AT&T. Let's come into the 5-minute chart and see if we get any day trading opportunities. January, gotcha. Yeah, so if you're in January, you probably won't be holding on that long. I really do like that breakdown right here. This is a great low of the day break. What price is this? Lunchtime low of the day break. Don't think I would have taken it, but it looks very nice. I like it, man. Looks more bearish than bullish. Let it ride, brother. Okay, what else do we have going on out here? Facebook, okay, long term. Justin said, here's the long-term trend on Facebook. Beautiful, I love it. Great chart, I have to agree. So I really like that level. Great job getting 4 R's on Facebook, Linderman. Pandora. We're looking at playing, well, didn't we? We didn't look. I set up an official trade on Pandora on Friday. And I had an entry at $12.50, and it triggered $12.50, but I did not get filled on the trade, unfortunately. So there were some traders who made money on Pandora. I wasn't one of them. But it does look like it's continuing a little bit lower. This is the 5-minute chart on Pandora. Ooh, great breakdown. Good pre-market low. Let me see if that's the pre-market low. Yep. Took out the low of yesterday and the pre-market low just a few minutes ago at 12.18. Are you in on this one, Joshua? If you are, great trade. I like that break. Let's see if there's any chance I can trade this myself. Dean, 5 is a bear trap, in my opinion. If you're looking at playing it bearish. I'm going to keep this one on my list, but I think it really already made its move. I don't really know exactly how to play this one if you're not already in. Could maybe wait for a retest, but yeah, let's watch it. Let's see what we can do. This one was on our list on Friday for sure, just never got filled. MANH, Manhattan Associates. Great gap. It's a bearish retest gap. Is broken through some supports. Let's see if MANH can do any kind of retest. So again, here's the 5-minute. Looks like we already had a retest earlier in the day right here. So talk about that wave rotation. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so let's watch that one, put that one on the list and see if we can get some kind of retest or something on that. It's already kind of moving pretty far for us, so we're just gonna have to keep waiting and being patient. Mark says, great Mentorship Monday session, Jan. See you this afternoon. You too, man. Thanks for the kind comment, buddy. Let's keep crushing it like you did in December. Let's make January the same. Let's do it again. All right, that's MANH. So we got a lot to look at today. We're going to be talking a lot in the afternoon about trader psychology as well, since today is Mentorship Monday, and today is really designed for my newer traders or beginning traders. Something important and interesting to know in regards to trading, and we kind of talked a little bit about this in the video that I played during the lunch breakfast break. There's two really good times. Well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that statement. There are two times that most people should take a trade. Should? No, let me rephrase it one more time. There's two times in the market that are most important in your trading. There are two times in the market that are most important in your trading. And being able to understand these two times is very crucial and very critical. There is a time where you feel uncomfortable, and then there's a time where you feel excited. Okay, these are the two times in the market, when you feel uncomfortable and when you feel excited. When you feel uncomfortable to do something, you need to figure out how you are when you feel that way. When you feel uncomfortable, for example, you're taking a trade and you're like, you know, you kind of get that feeling. You're like, I don't know, this is strange to do this trade here. It just feels weird. If you can recognize yourself feeling that way, try to do your best to ask yourself, why are you feeling that way? Why do you feel uncomfortable? Because usually it's times of uncomfortableness and uncertainty when you're trading is when you get the most profitability. So let me give you an example, and I'm going to bring up Facebook because this is the stocks we've been talking about the most today. It's up 1.35%. So, for example, traders down here who got in bullish, it was a very uncomfortable thing to do. Would you agree, Linderman? It was something that felt uncomfortable. The reason I say it's uncomfortable is when you're taking a trade, anytime you buy a trade, you buy into weakness and you sell into strength. So if you're taking a trade and you're like, I don't know if it's going to bounce down here, you know, you got a really good support and it's bounced off of this level 2 times before, I'm not entirely sure. Those are really good market conditions. Those are great times for you to be really kind of self-examining and trying to determine why it is that you feel that way. I shouldn't ask you, Linderman. You're the wrong person to ask. You're a pro. I'm going to ask myself. You're too good to ask. But someone else. So it's like one of these things where you're taking a trade. If you ever get excited about a trade, for example, I'm trying to think of one over here on – trying to think of a trade that I did recently I was excited on that I lost on. Because, again, this happens to me. This is a very, very good real-life expectation of when to take a trade. But I'm trying to think of – I'll think of one in a second. But the trades that work the best are the trades that you plan the longest. Okay? That's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. It's the trades that you plan the longest are the ones that work the best. That's really what I'm trying to get at. Just a moment ago, Justin said he was not uncomfortable because he planned that he wanted to do that exact trade both those 2 times it bounced before. When it's a really good time to get into a trade, there is usually very, very little signals that are going to tell you to do so. You're going to have price, and sometimes you'll have moving averages, and that's about it. Okay. Justin says, I agree with that. Wonderful. So again, usually when the best time to get into a trade, ladies and gentlemen, is usually the time where you're going to have the least signals to say yes. What a lot of us have learned to do is wait for everything to come together into a beautiful, brilliant picture of profits. You know, where it's like, okay, I need this, and that. And once I got all of those things, then I'm gonna get in. Usually when you get all those things, the stock has already made its move. So here's an example on Bank of America. No, let's do Goldman Sachs. Because I saw a newsletter about this the other day, and I'm not saying this trade's not gonna work, but I just kind of laughed. Saw a newsletter go out on my email. They're talking about the breakout of this trade right here. And the breakout of that trade, and they're saying to themselves, okay, guys, Goldman Sachs finally looks a little bit bullish. Let's get into the trade bullish. Right? That was the analysis with Goldman Sachs. Like, okay, the trade's finally here. It looks bullish. Let's get in. It's confirming. Everything looks good. All the indicators are showing bullish. Let's get in bullish. I won't say the trade will not work here, but what I'm kind of getting at is, especially with a lot of banks right now, look at the previous price action and ask yourself, is that a trade that you're chasing? Are you excited about that trade because you are jubilant about how much money you're going to make because of how much money you missed out on? Or is this a trade that you're going to be getting in before anybody else type of situation? So truly, when you're asking yourself, should I get into a trade right now? Ask yourself this: how long have I planned this trade? Have I planned this trade a day, or have I planned this trade a month? Does it feel uncomfortable? Is anyone else talking about this trade? Are there a bunch of newsletters and articles, and is it on Yahoo Finance? You know, if you ever get that article that says, hey, you know, in an email, this is a great time to buy this thing. You guys know the newsletters, you know, the things I'm talking about. You guys get it. The buy low, sell high mentality is a very, very overlooked part of trading. It's like buy high and let it go higher. You know, so here's Goldman Sachs, and this was 5 months ago. And again, this is just one of the ones I want to bring up because I think it's very important and kind of crucial to just simply determine. And this is something to, if you can get that breakthrough of this, you can really become a great trader. Is on Goldman Sachs back here, you use a few tools to analyze your analysis, whatever it might be. You'll notice that I did like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave rotation. So I was doing Elliott wave. So I wanted Goldman Sachs to trade down to this level, bounce, and then trade up to this level, and then get out. And then after that, it pulled back down to this price and then bounced, made a higher move. And then once you see this gap come in right there, this is a beautiful, beautiful gap, right? That's the time to take. That's the uncomfortable time to take that trade, just because it's like, wow, the trade's made its good move, but here's your flag pattern. It's bullish. This is the time to get in bullish, but you're not going to have tons and tons of indicators or signals telling you to get in, other than the gap in the price action. A lot of the indicators are going to be overbought or undersold or whatever, however you want to describe it. If you're using indicators to help time your trades, you got to realize that buying low and selling high is going to be always a critical, crucial aspect to your trading. Buying low, selling high, buying low, selling high. And when I mentioned the uncomfortableness of trading, also kind of recognize if you're getting really, really excited about taking profits on a trade, if you're in a trade, you're like, oh man, I'm so excited about how much money I'm making right now, and you exit, that's probably the wrong time to exit. Meaning it's probably going to go higher. Usually when you get really, really uncomfortable in the trade and the trade's going higher, that's what you need to sit down and recognize, okay, I'm uncomfortable. Why am I uncomfortable right now? Because in those realms, those times of your personality and of just your overall persona, that's usually when you make the biggest breakthroughs, is when you can recognize that uncomfortableness, figure out why it is you feel that way, and then push through that uncomfortable time frame. You got to make those adjustments to go, okay, you know what? Just this one particular time, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. I'm at my target. I'm scared that it's going to roll over. I'm going to miss all the profits that I have. So I'm going to do my best to try to hold out for just a little more. And all that comes down to is the plan, right? How long did you plan that? Plan, plan, plan. The longer that you plan something, the less comfortable you will become over time. So this determination is what I'm talking about. This kind of conversation right now is really for my newer traders who are first stepping out into the markets, or you're trying to figure out how to really get that breakthrough that you're looking for, that profitability where you're like, okay, I'm finally at a place where I feel like I'm consistently making money. It's all going to come down to how much have you improved your mental game as a trader. That's going to be the key. And it just comes down to creating that plan, knowing when you're uncomfortable. And if there's no signals to get in bullish, or there's very, very, very little signals to get in bullish based on your plan, if it fits your plan and you're uncomfortable, you're probably doing the right thing. That's kind of like the overall encompassing message of that chatter. Create the plan. When the stock trades down to that position, you're going to have very, very few signals, indicators, moving averages, yada, 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 whatever it is that you're looking at. You're going to have very few signals that are going to tell you to get in bullish or bearish or whatever you're looking at trading. So it's never, are you right or wrong? It's always, did you plan it in advance and did you follow your plan? That's the key, folks. Big idea, big key. Lad says, if Domino's breaks 165.50, would you play it to go to 167.50 or perhaps 170? 165.50. Honestly, it looks more bullish to me now at 164. So this is one of those. This is exactly one of those situations right here, Lad. Is so if you take this trade right there, it's very uncomfortable getting in bullish at that particular price, that purple line. That would be something that would be a struggle to do. And I didn't take this trade so that you know that. I'm not in. But Niels is. Niels is in bullish. So on Domino's, once this gap is created and it comes down and bounces off of it once, you could simply create a plan that says, okay, if it comes back down there, I'm just going to simply buy it at that price. When the trade comes down there, I'm going to buy it at that price. Again, you might not have any candlestick patterns. You might not have any indicators. You probably won't have any moving averages. All you're going to have is price and plan to take that trade. Price and plan. But what's important to understand and to remember is if you are practicing that type of discipline of, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and you do it every time, you will become a better trader. So when you're working on your plan and you're working on your discipline, you have to have a pretty rigid set of rules so that you know if you're following them or not. One rule for me is how long I have to plan a swing trade before I can get in it. It's a very rigid rule. It is now changed, by the way, Linderman, from 24 hours to 18 hours. Not that that's much of a difference. But in 2016, I had to plan my trade for a full 24 hours before I could even get in. And you can get to decide, do you want to bounce off of a moving average? You can decide if you want to bounce off of a particular price, a gap, a support and resistance. All of those are going to be correct some of the time. But on Domino's, a really solid entry was here at this support, this price line. But when you're down here, there's nothing that's going to tell you to get in bullish other than price. And did you take the trade? That's it. You know why high-frequency traders work so well? Is because they do the same thing all the time. That's the same thing as algorithms. They're robotic. When you can become a robotic trader, you go, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm doing it every time, all the time. I'm going to enter when it's uncomfortable. I'm going to enter when my price and my plan has dictated that I enter all the time without question. Then you're going to become an exceptional trader. So for example, let's just talk about this resistance right here on dominoes. Here's this support, here's this resistance. This is really kind of what I'm referring to, guys. If you ever want to practice your discipline on a trade, let's say you have a plan right now that says I'm going to short dominoes at 172.50. And you plan that right now. If dominoes comes up to 172.50, do you short it, yes or no? The answer is yes, you have to all the time. If that's your plan. Now, if your plan says if dominoes comes up to 172.50 and then creates a shooting star candle, then I short it. Okay, great. That sounds fine as well. Or if dominoes comes up to that resistance and he forms a bearish gap down on the hourly chart or the daily chart, then I short it. Excellent. That sounds great as well. But when it happens, you have to take that trade unquestionably and unwaveringly. If it's there, you do it. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? It's that discipline of saying, this is what I'm going to do, and then do it. And if you can create that plan to have as little signals as possible, to remove the clutter as much as possible, you will become uncomfortable. And through that uncomfortableness, you will grow as a trader. Because it has nothing to do with the signals. It has everything to do with your discipline. Building the discipline muscle, that once that muscle is built, then you can now add your signals or your moving averages, your whatever it is that you want to use, your indicators. And then once you add them, now you're going to go, okay, I'm going to do this trade regardless of what the signals say, because I know what I need to do. But the signals are just going to help me stay in the trade longer or whatever else. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Any other questions on that? Really all I'm referring to is I'm trying to get to the point of when you're creating a plan, create a plan that makes you feel uncomfortable in some form or fashion. Makes you feel like you're missing out on trades, or makes you feel like you're taking trades without that much information. Get you into a place where you have to rely on just being stone cold disciplined. Taking the trade and making it happen. So yeah, Neil's great trade on dominoes. I'm glad to answer your question. I kind of like Domino's Pizza bullish now. And then yes, the target would be 172 at that resistance. That would be the target, and really the entry is honestly about now. Down here would have been even better, but right here is okay as well. Niels, I love your put sale, man. Looks flawless. Linderman says, here's my Starbucks chart. I had a bracket, daily long-term moving average on my note for months, but I didn't take that November bullish because there were too many white candles in a row. But I did take it this time. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And that's okay if you didn't take it last time. Right? That's totally fine. Even though you had a nice little indecision candle right here. And then an inside day candle following that candle. I get it. I understand. It was a very, very crazy, wild, bullish market at that point. But then again, you have your very beautiful pullback, and there's your signal right there. Right about here is when you get uncomfortable buying that pullback because it looks bearish. So Justin gets in bullish here, places a stop here, and it's just rocking and rolling. So it's a challenge, ladies and gentlemen, in trading. But in order to grow as a trader, or in order to grow as a person, you have to find areas that you are uncomfortable and then break through that uncomfortable area, and uncomfortable zone. That's how you grow. Financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, it doesn't matter. Nutritionally, you got to find out a way to you got to find out what makes you uncomfortable and figure out a way to crush through that. Linderman, yep, sorry about that, man. I just pulled it up. Everything looks good. But yeah, I was talking about it for like 6 minutes. No worries, man. I got it recorded for you. You're a hero. That's pretty much what I said. Pretty much, I think everyone will agree. I was just talking about how amazing you are for like 5-10 minutes. No worries. Just another day in the trading room. Talk about Justin Linderman and how great he is. All right, with 9 minutes left, what else do you want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen? With about 9 minutes left, what else do you want to look at? Honestly, I don't think I'm going to be able to find any day trades out there today. Here's the 5 minute, and MTG, it is a head and shoulders pattern on the 5 minute chart, but I'm just not in awe. It's not that I'm uncomfortable. I just don't even like it that much. It looks all right. It looks all right. I don't think it's going to trigger. MTG, I'll leave it on the list maybe for about 5-6 more minutes, maybe 9 more minutes. We'll see what's going on. Rodman said he's surfing. Beautiful. That's fun. Baba still hanging out. It has pulled back to that exact same location that has bounced off of before. 4 or 5 minutes. What time was this? Back into here. So it's pulling back into that location. So Baba could bounce bullish off here, or of course, if it breaks below 94.63, probably get a little bit of selling coming in on Baba, but I'm not going to trade Baba the rest of the day. AYI, we were watching this one. Good job being patient, team. Well done. Not going to trade AYI. Chevron has been doing its thing today, which its thing has been not very exciting, but Chevron doing whatever. Zane made himself 3 R's on ETRM. Congrats, Zane. Nordstrom, I was watching to see if it was going to take anything on Nordstrom, but nope, not going to take anything on Nordstrom. Pandora did break a little bit lower. I missed this one by just a few moments. Looked at it, as you guys saw in the recording not too long ago. Break below that support would have been the entry. And just didn't get a chance to snag it. Same thing on Friday. Had a great trade set up on Friday on Pandora and just didn't get filled. So if you're in on Pandora bearish, awesome. MANH, slowly continuing lower. Don't have much on that one yet, but that's just kind of hanging out. Indy says, what's your thoughts on SQ? Square? So Square traded to a very, very good resistance at 1473. And then has pulled back. This is a previous all-time high area. My thoughts on it are this. It's going to be coming into a resistance zone. So pretty much the same price range that it has sold off of before. The wave rotation on this trade, you got this kind of structure like that. I would like a little bit more of a healthy pullback. If you got it on the recent pullback, great. But if it trades up higher, I'd like it to pull back a little bit more to buy it. So right now, you're definitely not doing. You're buying up into this area. You're buying high, hoping it goes higher. At least for right now. Very same thing with JP Morgan. So down here, great place to buy on Square. But since we can't go back in time, one of two things: either A, you hope for that, or B, you let it prove itself. Make some higher highs, then you go, okay, great, this trend is now confirmed, and instead of being sideways, it's bullish. Let it pull back, and then buy the dip. So Square has a little bit more time to go. Let's wait on it, see what it does, and come back and check it out. JP Morgan going into earnings. You're going to have earnings this week. As mentioned just a few moments ago when we looked at it, I think JP Morgan is very, very overbought right now. And I personally would not, I'm not going to be trading JP Morgan even until after earnings. I'm going to keep waiting on it. It is bullish, no question. It's just from a percentage move, if you look at it on a weekly chart. So let's pull JP Morgan up on a weekly chart and let's ask, what did it do the last few times it moved this far, this fast? Really, it hasn't moved this far, this fast, bullishly in a very long time. But the last time even we did something remotely similar was back here. So I'll draw the big move that it had, this red line. We had a big move, and then we retested. So really on earnings, what I'm hoping for on JP Morgan is this, because really I don't mind missing the move if it does this, because JP Morgan at some point will have a correction and you'll be able to either buy it as it pulls back or do some kind of non-directional trade. So if it gaps down on earnings, Nate, depending on the size of the gap and where it gaps to, I'd like to buy it as it pulls lower. But I'm just not buying up here. It's way too high. Way too high. So that's a buy high and hope it goes higher kind of thing. And that's just not where I want to put my money right now. If I'm looking at trading something, I need some stuff to pull back and kind of buy the dip. Yep. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on GoPro. GoPro right now, very uncomfortable to buy down here. But if you're looking at playing GoPro, this $9.04 support is holding. So GoPro, we've been down here before and we have bounced. This is the third time. So again, for any kind of swing trades right now, I'm looking for some buy low, sell highs. Then after earnings comes in, I'm maybe hoping for, if it doesn't, so let's go back over to JP Morgan, Nate, and let's pretend that nothing crazy happens on JP Morgan. Let's say it does not gap down to here. I'm hoping it gaps down hard because that'd be a great buying opportunity. Would you agree? So that's what I'm hoping for the most. There's only two other scenarios that are going to come in. Scenario number one, we gap up, gap up, and then obviously we're going to trade down from there if that happens. Or scenario C, we have a very, very small gap and not much happens, and JP Morgan continues to do something like this for the next few months, where you can take advantage of some option selling strategies and make some money that way. Put sales, bull put spreads, something like that. Does that make sense, Nate? So that's what I'm looking for, my man. Great news is we'll be doing a lot of earnings trading together this week. The enrichment week timed perfectly with that, with the earnings this week and next week. So Alcoa going to be kicking off the earnings season as it usually does, and it's kind of mind blowing to know that the earnings are already right around the corner. So earnings on Alcoa coming up, and we'll just see. We'll kind of have to see what happens. This absolutely could be a nice little triple top pattern on Alcoa potentially. And of course, if we do this, I'll look to make some money on the downside and then buy the dip. And then if it gaps up to here, I'll look to play it bullish. I'll be doing a lot of Mentorship Monday trading psychology chat later this afternoon, but I can look at Whole Foods for you right now. Whole Foods, Morningstar reversal, out of support. Yep, I agree. Looks great, Linderman. I would love Whole Foods to close like it is today. That would be great. But if you're looking at playing it bullish, in my opinion, Whole Foods has been in a very good channel for the not too distant past. So here's your weekly chart on Whole Foods. You can see some really good buy low, sell high opportunities on Whole Foods time and time again. So at this particular juncture, in trading Whole Foods, you got these 3 candles in a row that kind of, look a little bit like an evening star reversal. And if you draw this really short-term support resistance right here, nice looking channel, and again, kind of like a buy low, sell high. When I'm doing a buy low, sell high kind of a trade, again, I analyze it on the daily, and then I hop in here to the hourly chart to see if I can get a little bit better of a price. So here's the price on Whole Foods. So this is the hourly chart. So what I would like it to do personally is I like this little pivot right here. So I'm going to let it prove itself. I'm going to let it break out. And then I'm going to set up a limit buy right here. And then hopefully from there it bounces. Ladies and gentlemen, today was a fun day. Believe it or not, that was 5 hours of trading content nonstop from 9 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. Been up since 3. That's 6 hours for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is every single first Monday of the month, I do this. So it's not just because it's the enrichment week. It's not just because it's the open house. We do this every single Monday. The first trading Monday of the month is Mentorship Monday. And we do it to enrich lives. That's the mission of Real Life Trading, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you learned something today. If you're like, man, I took away a lot today, guys, we got a whole week left. We got a whole month left. We got a whole year left. We got a whole lifetime left of opportunities to trade together, grow together, trade as a team, and continue improving ourselves and helping others continuously. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back between 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time for the third hour of Mentorship Monday in the afternoon trading room. You all got those links. If you need anything or have any other questions, let me know. My email is jeremy@reallifetrading.com. You guys are amazing. I'll see you in the afternoon, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow as well. Until then, remember, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye-bye.